Hello out there in cryptocurrency land. Welcome back to Real Crypto, where we take the markets one leg at a time while keeping the market cycle in mind. And right now, Bitcoin coming to a place of very low volatility. We had some pretty high volatility. As I'm sure you guys know, we dropped down from the 6,200 level all the way down. Now we're at 3390. We had a little symmetrical triangle here, broke lower from that about 3/4 way through the pattern. Now we're in another type of a mini triangle right here. And basically, I'm likening this to what is being referred to as a volatility funnel. Okay, so the volatility comes in, you put in some highs, you put in some lows, the lows trend upward, the highs trend downward, and you end up in a very tight area. You can also see here that volume is greatly declining. You see the average volume on my orange line here, very low under this level right here. So we're getting to an area where larger moves are likely to happen. I've got a couple of levels here for you. The 34.90 to the upside, 33.33 to the downside is kind of what I'm looking at as potential longs or shorts. And if it breaks to the downside, this would be your short entry. This would be your stop. If it breaks to the upside, 34.90 would be your long entry. 33.33 would be your stop. And that's how I like to play these scenarios. And coming into this type of price action, you just have to wait for it to happen. You can place limit orders if you want to, but I really like to be there in the moment. Maybe you can place an alert that'll maybe get you there a little bit early, maybe at 34.75 and 3,300. I guess 33.50, give or take. And if we start drifting lower, see what the volume's like. Maybe we're just going to bounce off of that level. Now we can drift through these points as well. The thing about these types of setups is that they don't always work in a breakout type of a fashion. You can actually move these out a little bit into this range here as well. Okay, so these would be a little bit of a safer entry out here and out here than would be right here. The benefit about entering here, you're taking advantage of the fact that the volatility is so narrow, and also you're very close to your stop, and I think that's important in this market environment. So in the past little bit here, we really haven't had too many rallies. So in this situation, I'm really 50-50 on it. I'm agnostic as to which direction it moves. I don't really care which direction it moves. I may not even play the move, to be honest with you. If we move to the upside, there's a really big chance that we sell off immediately. Really big chance of that. Ever since we broke 6,000, you can see the bulls have disappeared. We had a little bit of a rally here, and then that was it. We had a couple of pops here, 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 and I don't know if you want to call this one a pop or not, but that's all we've had. We haven't had really any big bull moves. Now, one thing that is bullish is this selling pressure has actually abated slightly. We have a bit of a curve going on here to the downside. You can see right there, I drew that curve. Let me thicken that line for you. So you can see the lows have actually become less aggressive. This could lead to some bullish action. So that's why I'm a little agnostic to where we go here, because while we haven't had any major pops to the upside, this was just a reaction from a low level and gave us this triangle. And at this stage of the game, we've already had not a higher low, but we've already had a low with less selling pressure than we've seen in the past. So indicating the sellers have kind of gone away a little bit. But we still haven't seen that buying pressure come in. This could be the first sign of some kind of buying pressure. We break this 34.90, break up here at this 36.42, and then we're really going to have to fight here at that 38.09 level, which is where we broke down from this symmetrical triangle. Outside of that, I think we're just chopping. We're just going to chop in this range for a little bit. If we break to the upside and fail immediately, that would be a bearish break, and I would probably shorted immediately on the break of this 33.33 level right there. But really right here, it's very low volatility. And there's another thing here is, regardless of what I say about breaking either of these two levels, Bitcoin obviously does have the option to really just kind of chop us around. We don't have to break lower here. We don't have to break higher here. Okay, we can just chop around even out of these levels. We can have a spike low here and a pop up there. In which case we're in a trendless environment and you just basically have to stay away. So if this is something that you want to trade, that's fine. My suggestion, though, and this is not financial advice, my suggestion, though, from a trader's perspective, how I would approach this is if this doesn't work, If this breaks out in either direction and the volume is healthy, which it probably will be a little healthier because of the reduction in volume here. If it breaks and it fails and goes the other direction, I'm out until another signal. Reason being is I don't want to be chopped up in this market. There's been enough chop in this market. We've been dealing in chop for 6 months, pretty much except for a couple moves to the upside at 6,000, and now some really nice moves to the down as we broke 6,200. So that's kind of where I'm coming at this market from. I'm kind of in a wait and see mode with most coins. One coin that is looking a little more bearish than others, though, is BitcoinCash SV. So we've been tracking SV for a while now. We had a couple of trend lines on it. We had a trend line here as it broke out to the upside there. Didn't really go very far and stopped and put in this top trend line here, which we actually have been unable to get over. And we have a low here that we're sitting right on top of, and it looks like we're waiting to break this low. So I have a level here, 91.19. We were looking to potentially test this low and maybe buy 91.19 as it broke through. However, never did break through 91.19. It's actually moved lower, and now it's actually breaking the trend line. You can see that little red dot there. That's the current price bar, and that's sitting right at these lows. So we need to see if it's going to break here to the downside, and we're looking at this low here as well. We need to see if we're going to break to the downside here. If so, that could lead to some pretty aggressive selling in BitcoinCash SV. As we know, it had a very nice rally here, very, very nice rally, and so far has failed to move higher. We need some downside pressure to really break this, and if this does break, that could give you some pretty nice gains. This has been one of the biggest percentage gainers on the market ever since it kind of broke this right here, this structure. You know, it ran and then kept going, but no real follow through since then. And that's kind of like most of the market. It breaks a little bit with no follow through. So BitcoinCash SV potentially for some downside pressure, but you need volume to step in. As you can see, we're in a low volume territory. So you can see right there the volume's been declining. The average volume still declining down. You can see it hasn't really been that low in this base, I don't think. I think this is the lowest it's been in the base. Yes, it is. This is the low point. You can see we're a little bit lower than that right now. So we need elevated volume. We need this volume to step up here and really perk up. Otherwise, it could drift lower. It could drift lower, in which case you're just going to have to blindly place your stop here. If you really want to be tight with your stop, you could try to place it here at about that 86.90 level. At the same time, it could just whipsaw you out at any given moment with a little pump. But that's about a 3% stop loss from right now, and that's kind of the other chart that's looking really good. Nothing else is really looking that great. I will say that XRP also has a very similar reduction in volatility, and I have actually 4 levels on XRP right here. I've got, you can see them there on the screen. It's a lot of numbers for me to repeat right now, but these are your levels of resistance and support going in either direction, depending which way that it breaks. Like I said, lately everything is broken to the downside, but we'll see if maybe there's a bullish reaction at some point. But overall, my sentiment on Bitcoin at this stage in the game, as we break out to the daily chart, my sentiment on Bitcoin is that a lot of bulls have kind of stepped away completely from this market at this stage of the game. The more experienced investors have seen this before and will not engage. They will not engage. They're going to step away, and the less experienced investors are the ones selling down here. The more experienced investors were waiting for a clear break of 6K and probably sold right up here, maybe even caused part of this drop. But as we get lower here, I think we're just going to drift lower for a little bit, and we'll probably do a pop or two at some stage of the game. We just haven't seen that yet. No one really knows when that's going to come. We could start that here with this reduction in selling pressure on the break of this symmetrical triangle right there. That could cause us to bounce a little higher, which is kind of what I'm talking about here with this 3490, 3300 thing. But again, it doesn't have to happen here. It could happen a week from now. It could happen 2 weeks from now. We could be a little bit lower, and then we can break to the upside. So I wouldn't be putting a tremendous amount of capital at risk at this stage of the game. I'd really be picking your spots, looking for tremendously good-looking patterns. I mean tremendously good-looking patterns. You can have some rip-roaring rallies in these markets, but this isn't the type of setup that you can expect that from. Okay, let's say we get a nice rally up here and a beautiful little bull flag, then you can probably expect a little bit more of a move. Maybe we pause as we try to break through this 38.10 level, whatever level this is right here, 38.25, whatever, give or take a few bucks. Maybe we rally up from here, set a nice little bull flag right underneath that to power through that level. That would give us a nice little rally through there. Those are the things I'm looking for when I really go to take trades, is a great expectation of a gain. Right now, I don't have a great expectation of a gain, but I know there's a lot of people looking to trade, and if you are, these are some of the levels I'm looking to break for the next move in either direction. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. If you guys like my content, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video. Check out my website, real-crypto.com, where you can check out our Real Crypto Power Hour. And this is actually our Power Hour page right here. You have access to a spreadsheet that we maintain in terms of alerts as well. So if you're part of our Slack channel and a member of the Real Crypto Power Hour, you can go ahead and get those alerts. I also have some other things here. I have a couple custom indicators that I put together here. Volume aggregation tool, which is pretty handy, and bars are, which kind of gives you a bit of a beat on what's going on with some individual bars and if you see some accumulation or distribution. Also have every single stream recorded, as well as the newsletter that I put out here, so every single day you can get an update on the market there. So thanks for joining me today, guys. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.